land ratification or land regularization. So let's go into today's topic. So first of all, have you ever, or do you know someone, or has this ever happened to you, where you buy a land, buy property, buy land, you even pay, and maybe they claim it's a family land and or community land, and then you pay, and you even get a land receipt. You get the land receipt for the land, and then you are fine with it. You're okay, this is my land, and then you build on the land and do all that you wish to do on that land. And then maybe after some weeks or years, the government comes and says, hello, hi, this land actually belongs to us. It is a land, it is a government acquired land. And then you are wondering, how is this possible? I got this land from this person, this that claims it's a family land. I even have a land receipt and all that. And then you're wondering, what next? Like, what's the way out? Is that the end? So I have good news, some sort of good news for you, that might not be the end. There might be a solution for you. There might be a possible light at the end of the tunnel, where you have come into such ill-fated situation or circumstance. So this is where our topic for today comes into play. So let's go on and say, what is land ratification? So land ratification simply is the process, or land regularization is the process of granting title to those who have erroneously purchased government acquired land, uncommitted government acquired land. So what is land ratification or regularization? In the process of granting title to those who have erroneously, mistakenly acquired any government, uncommitted government land, acquired land. So basically means that you were or are unaware that the particular land that you've just bought is actually belongs to the government. It's a government acquired land, and then you find out that this is a government acquired land. So what can you do? So what is the solution? The solution is land ratification, and that is where the government gives you the last chance to be able to actually acquire that land from the rightful owners, which is the government. So where someone claims that they have a family land and they sell that land to you, but then you discover that this land doesn't actually belong to them, it belongs to the government. So what can you do to make things right, or to try and resolve such issue? So that's where land ratification comes in. It's like the government giving you the last line, or a grace to be able to resolve the issue of title, and then give you actual ownership of that land. Because at this point, you are not the owner of that land. If you think because you paid for the land, it doesn't make you the owner, because the rightful owners are not the ones that gave you that land, because the law says you cannot give what you do not have. So if the scammers, let's use the word scammers, give you that land, you buy that land from those scammers, you actually are not buying the land, because they do not have rights over that land. So they can also pass to you rights over that land. So basically you are a squatter. So that is where this policy comes in. It gives it's a second chance for you to be able to regularize everything, and then actually have the real owners, which is the government, give you the actual title to that land. But like, before we move forward, like I said, it is the process of the government giving you title to the land which you acquired, which is a uncommitted government acquired land. So before we move forward, we have to understand that not all government acquired lands or government lands under government acquisition can actually be rectified. That means that it's not all instances that you can actually resolve the issue, because there are lands that are committed government acquired lands, and then they are uncommitted government acquired lands. So if we're saying government uncommitted acquired lands, that means lands that yes, the government has acquired, the government owns the land, but and then maybe not really for a specific reason, like they do not have like an actual plan for that land. They don't have like plans to either make it a road or an estate or anything in particular. So when you acquire those types of land, then you can do the whole process. You can go through the whole process of ratification and regularization. But then when you acquire committed government lands, the first one I explained was uncommitted government acquired lands. So now the second one is committed government acquired lands. So committed government acquired lands are lands that the government actually have plans on, to either maybe turn into an estate, school, hospital, or road. Basically, it just means that the government already have plans for that land. Like those lands have been reserved for certain things. So when you erroneously acquire those types of land, the government would not give you the grace to rectify that issue, because those lands already have a specific reason. They have been designated for a specific plan. So basically, the difference between uncommitted government acquired lands and committed government acquired lands is the fact that one has a plan. They are both acquired by the government, yes, but one already has a designated plan on that. Like the government already have plans towards that land. So now, going back to the policy, so basically, why is there a policy for this kind of thing? It is basically just to save people. Like I said earlier, it's like a last line or grace for people who have erroneously, unknowingly, or who have been scammed and bought lands that actually belong to the government. So it's like a lifeboat for persons like this, and that is the reason why this policy has actually been created. But it's also important to note that aside the fact that it should not be a land that is not a committed government acquired land, there are also some conditions that you have to fulfill before you can actually apply for your for land regularization. And some of these processes, some of these conditions, I would discuss them. And the first one is that the land must not fall within a committed government acquired land. Like I already said, the government must not it must not be a land that the government already has plans on, plans that they wish to wish to carry on that particular land. Because once that land is a committed government acquired land, then there is nothing you can do. You cannot rectify that land. Another condition is that the land must not fall within an existing forest reserve or agricultural land use. So there are some lands that are, the main purpose for those lands are for forest reserve or agricultural land use. So once the land you acquire falls within those parts, those types of those particular areas, then you cannot actually rectify that issue. Then another one is that it must not fall on land alignment, meaning the land should not be on the pathway, on the road, or for a particular place where there is supposed to be a road on that land. So once the land in question is on the road, then definitely it cannot be rectified, and any building on it will be demolished. And another one is that the appropriate setback must be observed, meaning that you have to comply and conform with the urban regulations setbacks, because if you do not comply with that, if that land does not comply with that, then you cannot rectify the land, and any building found on it would actually be demolished. And another one is that there must be an appropriate distance between drainage system, electricity and telephone poles, oil and gas pipelines, water pipelines, and some other like power lines too that have been stated by the physical plan. So there's a particular appropriate distance between which a land or a building should have when there's a oil and gas pipeline or electricity pole or things like that around. So once that land that land does not comply with the appropriate distance, such land will not also be rectified, and any building on it will be demolished. Then another thing is that it must also fall within the permitted regularization area. So basically, if the land in question do not follow any of these conditions, then you cannot then apply for land ratification. So that's why it's actually very important when acquiring the land for you to run your due diligence to ensure that you find out if this land that you're about to acquire, does it really belong to this person that claims it is their land? Is it a family land? Is it actually a family land, or is it a government acquired land? And then also do your research on the types of the regulations, the rules that govern that area, the urban regularization, and then the planning permits that you need to acquire, as well as just necessary things for you to know if that land, if you can go ahead to actually acquire that land, and then if you can even go ahead to build on that land or whatsoever. So once you are sure that okay, this land is free from any issue, then you can go ahead to acquire land. So basically it's just saying that you should always run your due diligence when you are acquiring a land. So what is the effect of this land ratification? What does it mean once you have done it? It means like it is basically saying you have just validated what was invalid, because that ownership that you think you had on that land, that acquired government land, was not a valid ownership. So once you apply for land ratification and everything is done, then it makes that ownership valid. So like I said, it's validating what was invalid and makes you the original owner of that land. So I hope we've all been able to learn something new today, and if we have any questions or any contributions, please don't forget to leave it down in the comment section. See you next week and same time. Bye everyone.